So I want to ask you some questions today, more than just give you answers. What gifts have you got? Who are you? You know, we put out a video every week for 8 a.m. and put out a video every week for 10 a.m. and they also meet in person. Now, when we meet in person at the sanctuary, which we're doing right now at the church, well, then I can see who's there. I can see how they're responding, see how they're looking, if they are laughing when I think I'm asking for it, and if they're reflecting, I can tell. I can't tell with you. You don't leave many comments, and I guess that's okay. But you can leave comments on Facebook. Love to see them. Love to hear more from you about what you're looking for, what ideas you have, what would mean something to you to hear me talk about, or if you'd like me to talk to somebody else, who that somebody would be. Make a suggestion. So, get in touch. Let me know. Let me know what you got. Let me know who you are and what you're looking for. I imagine who I'm talking to. I imagine myself talking to people who are not persuaded about Christianity, who have real deep-seated doubts and are not pretending that they don't have doubts or pretending that they're Christians. But they're somewhere between and searching, because I believe there's a lot of people in the world like that. And I relate to you. I am a Christian. I became one several times. So, I understand that the walk is complicated and we don't all end up in the same place, and that's okay. And our education leads us places, our family leads us places, our experiences lead us to different places. But it sure helps me know who I'm talking to. You know how that is in a conversation. You want to know, what does this person think, Should I launch into my conservative tirade, or should I launch into my progressive tirade? Where should I go with this? You don't know. Should I assume they have certain beliefs about the Bible, that it's all true, that it's not interested in being true? Should I assume they're open to other religions or not? Let me know. Let me know. That's really important and really helpful. We're doing this takeout week after week. Since we started back in the church, some people who are attending church were watching this and probably aren't watching it anymore. So that means you're left. And the folks, about 70 or so the last few days from last Sundays, probably be more than that by by the time this comes out. Those people have decided not to be in church right yet, and I'd be interested in knowing why you're interested in not being in church right now. Is it still a COVID thing and you're concerned about that? Have you not got your vaccinations yet? Are you kind of an anti-vaxxer? Are you still kind of touchy about it and not sure if you're believing that it's safe to go out yet? Where are you? Or just not interested and don't want to go to church, and maybe you weren't going to church and you'd still rather not go to church to worship with other people. You're a little iffy on this. You got doubts, and you'd rather have this whole thing be private on your own. Or maybe you're watching with family. I don't know. I'd love to know. It would help me speak to you in a more helpful way. That's my hope. Okay, that was my intro. You're at the takeout. I'm Jeremy Williams. I'm the pastor of Community United Methodist Church in North Muskegon, Michigan. And this is my 6th week talking about conversations. Monologuing about conversation, which is weird. But this week I want to skip the irony maybe and talk about that part of a conversation where where you try to bring out the best in another person. When you talk about gifts, and you invite everyone to bring their gifts, and you start trying to value people's gifts. There's a place in the Bible, it's Paul's second letter. Well, it may be his third, but it's the second one we've got. To the church at Corinth. So it's called 1 Corinthians, or if you like, 1 Corinthians. That's how you write it. So it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and starting around verse 14, Paul starts talking about how we're all different. He says, just because you're an eye, or just because you're an ear, you don't say, well, I don't matter because I'm not an eye, or I don't matter because I'm not an ear. My head, if my head could talk, aside from using my mouth, I guess, my head can't say to my feet, I don't need you. Well, all of a sudden, I'd be shorter, and I'd be balancing really badly on the ends of my legs, so I need my feet. We need each other. And he goes on that God gives greatest honor to the people, to the things that are least honorable, to the things we need. If you wear underwear, I'm not judging here, but if you wear underwear, then you'll realize you give more clothing attention to the parts of you never show out in public, or if you do show them, you shouldn't really. And you go out with nothing on your head, nothing on your hands, unless it's winter. So why do we do that? We think this face is really important, and we think the hands are the thing that make humans humans, and yet we spend all this effort covering up these other things, and maybe being ashamed of them is part of the weirdness, but also keeping them private. But God gives honor to the dishonorable, to the not powerful, to the people who don't feel like they have anything really special to offer. And maybe that's you. And maybe you're not that person. Maybe you're the opposite person, and you have thought to yourself, well, they don't matter. They don't have a college education. They don't have a master's degree. They don't have a doctorate. They don't matter because they did badly at their job. They don't matter because they're divorced. They don't matter because they're of a different political party. They don't matter. And maybe that's been you. And you've been judging a lot. That'd be a shame. Quit it. Because God doesn't do that. So, if we want to build community, here's the thing. We need to actually take all of the people we've got, all of the people around us, and help them all belong. And how do we do that? We do that partly by saying, what do you have to offer? What are the goods in you? What are the strengths in you? Let me name them to you. Let me tell you how important you are. Because this is the kind of thing that God does with the least of us. God says, yeah, but you matter the most. You are the representative of Jesus Christ in the world. And the people who think they're important end up being left behind in some of God's plans. So, wherever you are in the spectrum of, I think I'm all that, and no one would notice if I disappeared, wherever you are on that spectrum, know that you are incredibly important. And God has given you particular gifts, and you have abilities, you have insights, you have experience. You have something that somebody else needs, that our whole society needs. We need people who drive buses. We need people who run banks. We need people who make lunch. We need people who will clean up your dinner. We need people who will help you go to the bathroom, and we need people who get paid to do brain surgery. We need people at every level. And we need people who have thought things that we haven't thought, who have gifts we don't have. And we need the people who work in the factories. If we're thinking of buying something, we need the people who deliver those to the store. We need the people who sell them in the store. We need things. Well, we don't need all the things we buy, probably. But we need each other. And we all have a value, and we all have a place, and we all are really part of God's plan. So when I get in a conversation with somebody, maybe you're like me. I think this is about half the people in the world. You get into a conversation and you start thinking what you don't like. There are people you don't like and you don't get along with, and you go, ugh, and you start getting negative. And maybe you look then for ways to say, I am not agreeing with you. I don't value you thinking about that. And you look for subtle ways, or you look for blunt ways, or you get in a fight in a bar, whatever it is, but you devalue. I devalue. I criticize. I come out first with a lot of negative. This happens a lot in my life. But I've learned, I've been married to a marvelous woman who has taught me to start leading with the positive, to try to lead with the positive, and she'll point out when I don't. And so because of that, though it drives me nuts once in a while, I'm getting better at it, because she has that gift of bringing out good in me. That's a gift I need. So I need to practice, maybe you need to practice getting into a conversation with someone and not saying, well, because you're not like me, you don't have anything to offer. Because you're not as rich as me. Because you're not as influential as me. Because you are shorter than me. I don't know what it is. Less educated than me. Because of whatever it is that I use to distinguish me from you, I get to devalue you. But instead, I need to ask the opposite kinds of questions. Not, how can I be one up on you? Not, what's wrong with you? Instead, I need to ask the opposite thing. What do you have that can change the world? That can change our community, that can change our society? What do you offer? And how can we do something together that we couldn't do alone? You've got gifts. I've got gifts. Let's put them together and do something better. That's how we build community. It's how we build a neighborhood. It's how you build a company. It's how you build a church. You bring all the different gifts together, and you have to then value them. You can't scorn them or minimize them or ridicule them or just give them politeness and walk away. We owe each other. We owe ourselves the joy of finding the good in other people. I hope you will. Keep looking for the good in all the people you find, and encourage them in their good, in what they can do. Here's 4 letters, ICNU. And that is the beginning of lots of great sentences that are affirming, lots of great sentences that notice other people's gifts and then call them into service in community. It goes like this. I see in you the potential to be a leader. I see in you a lot of skills in driving vehicles. I see in you a lot of joy that you can share with other people. I see in you real skill working with kids. I see in you compassion as you're a nurse. I see in you a delight in making things taste good. I see in you a child of God with lots of potential to do great things for God. And I do see it in you, even though I can't see you. And I wish I knew you better. I hope you'll share with me what I could see in you if you were just here. God bless you.